Hello everyone, I'm Paulo Rosado, the founder and CEO of OutSystems. I'm pleased to welcome you to our Cloud Innovation Summit, where we bring together two of the most important topics in business today, cloud and innovation. Cloud technology is now at the forefront of digital transformation, and organizations that successfully capitalize on it are on track to being industry leaders. We have 2 great days ahead of us. You'll hear firsthand from our customers, developers, and partners and see what software innovation looks like with examples of customer applications built in record time. And not just simple apps. We're talking about applications that completely transform the customer experience and the way employees get work done. That's why we named our Cloud Innovation Summit Build It for Your Business. Speed, agility, and scale are critical for businesses to compete. It's at the root of high-performance software development. Take a look at our customer stem cell technologies. With an incredibly small development team, they struggle with the backlog of end-of-life applications that were developed using different technologies. Without systems, they're crushing their backlog, moving 3 times faster, building applications as a pro team of elite performance, and collaborating with business units to address real issues immediately. Agility is also critical in times of crisis or when unexpected business challenges hit. Consider what happened in Puerto Rico when Hurricane Maria hit. Our customer, Universal Insurance, had to build entirely new software that allowed their customers to upload claims from their mobile devices. A new app came to life in less than 20 hours. It was delivered by an elite team of only 4 people. This is what we start seeing as the benchmark for time to market. These are the types of projects that show why a culture of innovation is critical. This is one of the reasons why we love to do what we do at OutSystems. We'll discuss additional customer stories and the power of high-performance low-code during these 2 days. Get ready also to dive deep into cloud-native applications. We will discuss the difference between cloud and cloud-native, explain how companies can make the transition, what skills you need in a cloud-native world, and how you can do it with minimal risk. This will be an opportunity for you to get an outline of our newest cloud-native platform, and now it will introduce a new era in developer experience. Our team will show you how to build a cloud-native infrastructure, from architecting, deploying, and maintaining Kubernetes clusters to a new approach to CI/CD and DevOps. As always, the goal is to raise the bar on productivity and give your teams the firepower they need to be elite performers. On top of that, we have a great slate of speakers who will give you practical tips, the latest trends and strategies for cloud-native and low-code development, and what to incorporate into your planning. We're happy to sit down with Tom Jones, Solution Architect at AWS, on day 2. We'll talk through the most important questions on software innovation in the cloud, including how AWS and OutSystems are working together to enable new levels of agility and performance. We have invited our amazing partners like Deloitte to share with you the tech trends that impact the future of cloud transformation. KPMG and Accenture will showcase how they help companies across the globe achieve transformation goals with high-performance low-code. Finally, we'll wrap up with some fun as we take you through our How We Build It rapid sessions with demos of really cool apps built in OutSystems. Enjoy these sessions, ask questions, and let us know about your own challenges so we can show you how OutSystems and our high-performance low-code platform can become a major competitive advantage for you. So, without further ado, I'd like to kickstart our keynote session with technology researcher Hans van Grieken of TechInspire and global technology strategy and CIO leader at Deloitte, Mark Lillie. Thank you. Enjoy the summit.
Welcome to this OutSystems Cloud Innovation Summit. My name is Hans van Grieken. It's my pleasure today to interview Mark Lillie. Mark Lillie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Hans. It's super to be here with you.
We have a bit of a history in the past of working together, and the reason why I'm really happy to have you in the show is that you run the CIO Program for Deloitte globally. And now before we dive into that and we dive into the topic of our conference, just portray a bit the Deloitte organization, particularly because in some parts of the world, Deloitte is strongly associated with audit.
Yeah, I mean, Deloitte is a large business globally, $50 billion revenue. And you're right. I mean, our heritage is around, if you like, financial advisory services, audit, tax, and those sorts of things. But nowadays, Deloitte's advisory consulting businesses, all things sort of digital, cloud, is actually the mainstay of our firm globally. So about 75% of our business globally now are those sorts of capabilities, which you're right, are less famous than the heritage businesses. But
on the global scale, you're actually market leader in this space, right?
Yeah. Deloitte are the largest consulting business globally. And we're in all countries serving all markets with a broad set of offerings, which I'm sure we'll explore further, and not least with the partnership with OutSystems.
Yeah. So if you look at the CIO program, which you're responsible for across the globe, what I always liked about it, it's a really neat combination of bringing together professionals, of sort of injecting into that conversation content, and also to learn from each other. Tell us, it's a passion, it's your passion, right?
Yeah, I mean, I am passionate about it. I mean, I firmly believe that all businesses now need to view themselves as technology businesses, where technology is embedded, because it's the technology that's transforming companies today. I mean, whether it's, supply chains or how your employees interact and do their jobs. I mean, it's been accelerated with COVID and the pandemic, So I'm passionate about, the leadership roles that exist within organizations to make that happen. So the role of the CIO and tech leadership generally.
Because that's a role that's dramatically changing, right? I mean, how long have you run this program now?
Yeah, well, we've been going for just over 10 years, actually. So the role has evolved dramatically over those last 10 years.
Give us a taste of what some of these changes.
Yeah, so I mean, CIOs used to be report to CFOs. Now, about 70% of CIOs report to the executive, to the CEO. So it's much more of a strategic agenda. It's less of a manage your IT costs and much more now around how can we innovate across the whole organization? How can we use digital technology to excite and delight our customers, our employees? It's a war for talent there that we have across all organizations now. So how can the employee experience be extraordinary using technology? And I think the role of tech leaders is about making technology relevant to the business more so than ever.
Yeah. If you look at the theme of this conference, right, this move to cloud and cloud native, and particularly from a perspective of low code, I mean, Deloitte has been investing in low-code companies and capabilities for a long time, and particularly in OutSystems. Why is this so important to Deloitte?
It's so important to Deloitte because it's so important to our clients. We only exist because our clients have demands. They want to have customer-focused, unique experiences that are digitally native. They want to have efficiencies that drive down cost and maximize their margin. So for us to be relevant and useful to our clients, we need to be up to speed with all of the latest platforms that are out there. And low code is a phenomenon that enables technology to the masses, to all citizens, and it's something which is driving down cycle times for innovation. Automating services that used to require people doing manual jobs. So it's at the heart, I think, of the way modern organizations operate and work. And so for us to be relevant and useful, as I say, we need to be on top of those alliances and those ecosystems. And we're delighted to be partnering with OutSystems as we have been for, 15 plus years now.
Yeah. So one of the elements that you bring into your conversations with your CIOs, and we saw some of the numbers a moment ago, is tech trends. Tech trends is a topic that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
tell us a bit about what it is and why it's relevant for the people watching this webinar.
Yeah, so every year for the last 13 years now, we've been launching Tech Trends. It's a report that's published. So Tech Trends 22 is out there. Please, everybody, have a look at it. Our focus on Tech Trends is not crystal ball glazing, flying cars, 20, 50, 60, that sort of time horizon. It really is time horizon, 2 to 3, 18, 24 months out. So,
Yeah, but you could say that, before working for Deloitte, as I did in my past, I worked for Gartner and for other players. I mean, they all have their tech trends.
Yeah.
What makes this tech trend so different?
yeah, so I think our practicalities around it. So technologies that really have a business impact and that are going to be globally across all industries, all geographies, scalable within that 18, 24 months window. And so to bring that to life, in our Tech Trends reports, we always have real stories around organizations that are using these technologies that we feature today. That way, given the horizon planning activities of organizations, it can be really made practical. So you can invest, you can read Tech Trends and you can start investing now because it's going to have that 18 to 24 month window. So that's what's quite special about our studies.
Yeah. The other part that strikes you is when you look at the slide, on the left-hand side it's green, on the right-hand side it's blue. The structure that is out there and has been out there in this Star Wars representation still holds, right?
Yeah, Star Wars Episode 13. It's like the credit slide at the beginning, isn't it? So for the first time, probably 2 or 3 years ago, we looked at all the chapter headings for the last 13 years, and that's what you can see on this picture. And we looked to see are there some patterns. So if you look backwards, are there some natural groupings which can not just help with the narrative around, what groupings of technologies are relevant looking backwards, but also they can be a good sign around looking forwards for the next 10 years. And that's what we did. So exactly as you say, Hans, on the green side, there are 3 macro forces, and on the right-hand side, 3 blue ones. And those really are about enduring groupings of technology to enable senior executives to think about how can we invest in certain aspects of the portfolio, from customer experience through to digital core.
Yeah. Having been a researcher myself, I know from experience that you need some sort of a framework before you start building such a body of knowledge. And for Deloitte, this has been for a long time, these macro forces, because they also, each of these tech trends reports has a, let's say, longer future view, one chapter as always. So could you just elaborate a bit on those 3 which we have on this slide?
Yeah. So here are the 6 macro forces. Across the top, we've got all things experience. How do customers, employees, society interact with technology? How do we experience it?
That's very close to OutSystems, right? That's at the heart.
Absolutely. You need to fall in love with the application, the tool. If you don't, how often do you not click through because it's painful and difficult? The experience is everything. Increasingly, not just being a sort of a 16 by 9 2-dimensional screen, but actually voice and augmented reality, the end game where it's so embedded, it's natural,
Because according to Deloitte's thinking, that is moving in the end game, sort of, with the knowledge of today, to what they call ambient experience. What is that?
Tech is so embedded, you almost don't notice it. You almost don't notice it. So you could be in your kitchen at home, hey Alexa, ding ding. You don't see Alexa, you hear it. It's just there, it's helpful, it's natural. And so that's where we're going with this. Experience is totally natural. Yeah.
The same is on the data side, right? The trajectory. When you look further in the future, what's known as exponential intelligence, what is that?
Yeah, so if you look back, data management, data governance, data reporting, it's all important. It's all good stuff. It's relevant in the future as it is today. But I don't know any organisation that doesn't want to be more insight driven, more predictive, as opposed to historical in terms of the data. And exponential intelligence is, particularly if you combine it with quantum, we've got so much insight it's not constrained, it's real time. It's not, the IT, OT integration, which we've talked about previously. It's real time data coming together with more traditional IT to provide insight to businesses. And again, if you think about it, there's so much data out there, devices, sensors. How you can take all of that data and make sense of it. Yeah. That's where that trend's going.
Because that brings us to number 3, right? Which is the platforms and the cloud, and that's obviously the content of our conference, right? This move towards cloud, and particularly cloud native. In Deloitte's view, that is moving towards quantum, and I saw you'd made some huge investments in this space as well. Why is that so important to you?
Yeah, well, so quantum has been one of those things that's always just over the horizon, almost there, It was Moore's law and all of those aspects but we are getting there now. And the examples are out there across supply chains and experience in financial services around quantum use cases in healthcare and R&D with so much data. And then when you combine that with that previous trend around data, that's really where the cloud comes in. It's being able to have such extraordinary horsepower to be able to analyze real-time, constantly optimize the business use cases where that data makes such a difference is going to be extraordinary through automation. That's why cloud and platforms together with that, the data side of things, comes together as a powerful unit.
Yeah. So again, Tech Trends has over the years published a number of trends. When we look back through the lens of OutSystems and through the lens of the move to cloud native in connection to OutSystems, there's 4 that for the past 2 years actually make a lot of sense, right? Let's just dive into each of them. So the first one is strategy engineered. I mean, what's that trend all about?
The trend is kind of a simple one. I mean, historically, strategic people, chief strategy officers would do traditional analysis and, what's our corporate strategy, our business unit strategy. To do that without technology at the heart just doesn't make sense. Technology is fundamental in creating new sets of competitors, new sets of ability to transform your business model. And equally, you can't do technology without being strategically led. So it's a mashing together of traditional technology thinking together with corporate strategy together, which is redefining business's strategy. I mean, there's one thing that I see organizations often do. They say, what's our digital strategy? Yeah, for our business. Mm-hmm. I'd almost spin it round the other way is, what should our business strategy be for digital? Because digital, it's an era. Yeah. It's an environment. Yeah. What's our business strategy in that context? You can't ignore it. Yeah.
Exactly. Does that also imply that, looking from an OutSystems perspective, companies should make up their minds for the choices of their platforms that will fuel that strategy?
Yeah. The platforms are so fundamental because a platform enables you to be faster, to plug in to industry data, industry applications. Organizations on their own shouldn't be investing in proprietary platforms. You should be leveraging those ones that are out there. And again, we can talk about some examples later in financial services where, you've got to use those to get the speed and then the connectedness with other industry participants. That notion of ecosystems, which we've talked about many times previously, being an isolated ivory tower as an enterprise is just wrong nowadays. It's about being
a platform that connects you to others.
Indeed.
And shares data and
Indeed,
so on.
Exactly.
The second one is a big play for OutSystems and for clients that choose OutSystems as their platform partner is unlocking core applications and legacy and so forth and exposing them as an API.
Yep.
That was a big topic in the 2021 Tech Trends. Tell us a bit about that one.
And it's still a big topic in 22 and it will be in 23 and 24. The thing about technology is it is moving so quickly. If we had created a business 3 or 4 years ago, we would have technical debt right now. Yeah. That's just the reality. Okay.
So you're exploring the future, you're managing the current, and you're decommissioning the past.
Precisely. And you can't go through every 3 years, throw out everything and bring in new stuff. But this notion of continually reviving your core, having an interaction layer that allows you to containerize your core legacy, if you like, but it still works and so on, but not exposing necessarily that to end users, whilst at the same time where you really do need those systems of engagement and insight, bringing those in as well, but as an integrated architecture that works. That is so fundamental to organizations today.
A company like Deloitte, with its huge consulting power, right, understanding both the business side as well as the technology side, also has had traditionally a big stake in ERP. And one of the areas in which low-code platforms like OutSystems deliver a lot of value is to unlock certain parts of that ERP in order to prevent bringing it to the next generation, making it more lean and clean, right? Is that something you see in your business, that the traditional way of thinking, we need a big ERP, because is that changing?
It's changing. Yes, it's changing. I think some organizations still feel you need that huge ERP that's going to solve everything. I believe that organizations need a smaller digital core. If you like, that core system of record that really is the core finance processing, procurement. It's not
no interfacing, no, it's core, lean and clean.
It's lean and clean, I like that. It's lean and clean, it's small, it's self-contained. There are, outside of that core, yes, you need to have access to that core data, and yes, you need to expose that in the right way. But that's where wrappers come in to help you integrate and align and so on. I think also organizations are sort of fed up with those sort of 3-5 year, multi-year programs, which by the time you've finished, you almost need to start again. So that notion of speed and agility is something which that impatience to get value sooner, this idea of, I'd call it elephant carpaccio. You could put in an elephant, it's a monster. Is there a way of slicing and dicing that elephant, smaller bits of value, which could be wrapping around an old traditional piece of core tech? It's okay slicing off a piece of value to really focus on some business advantage and area. That notion of elephant carpaccio, I think, is quite a nice way of slicing up.
Actually, you're doing that yourself using OutSystems as Deloitte, right? I mean, the example that comes to my mind is you do audits on compliance for banks, and you create the client dedicated environment to do that. But in the back end, it's OutSystems.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the trends is cloud goes vertical, where there are industry-specific or functional-specific cross-industry capability areas. So compliance being a nice one in financial services. There are rules out there, regulatory requirements.
Yeah, and it's eating a lot of budget and human capital, which is not focused on clients and on services, but on compliance. Right?
Indeed. So if those industry standards, which are the same across all organizations within that sector, if you can create an industry standard cloud native vertical, which are now where the superscalers are all investing, you can integrate those into your core platform. What it does is it gives you that ability to simplify, to standardize, to share. It could be with regulatory bodies, it could be around reporting around compliance. Standard ways, much simpler, rather than sort of reinventing the wheel and having your own tools and processes and methods and so on, and actually tapping into that.
You already mentioned it, cloud goes vertical. Is that actually what you're seeing with all of them? That they are creating industry-specific functional components that can be integrated through a platform like OutSystems? Is that what you see? Because you obviously have partnerships with AWS and with Google and so forth. That's what you see them doing?
I do. I see them investing in industry-specific solutions.
So you're building basically your ERP without buying the whole ERP.
Yes.
It's a best-of-breed play, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if you look at the superscalers, the amount of engineering capability that they have there, the world's best. So it's a war for talent. We mentioned it earlier. Would you as a business rather tap into that research engine, those analytics tools that are pre-built that solve specific industry problems, and leverage that, or would you rather build it on your own? I know what I would do as an organization.
But there is a sentence in the trend called cloud goes vertical, which stuck with me, which was that anything that can be abstracted into an API and that is not adding to your competitive advantage should be bought by a hyper. Is that a future you see? So you're reducing the tech team, and anything that is not making you more competitive in the market, it's a generic function that is across the board in any retail organization. So let's just source it from AWS. Is that the future that you're looking into?
Yeah, I mean, the fourth trend that we sort of touched on, IT disrupt thyself. If you look at the amount of automation that goes on within the hyperscalers, massive data centers that they own, the cloud, massive. The amount of automation and optimization within and between that infrastructure, the number of servers managed by one person, millions.
Yeah.
Compare that to the amount of automation that most organizations have, and it's extraordinary. So IT disrupt thyself is learn from those hyperscalers and automate anything that can be automated, increases security, reduces cost, increases quality. Why wouldn't you learn from that? And hence having, cloud engineers who can tap in to those automation tools that are ready-made and built and architect your answers in a way that builds on those core practices. It's a new form of outsourcing, really. It's a broader capability, and it's that, I think the skill set is more that orchestration of these capabilities, knowing which ones you tap into and how you integrate. That's the skill set, it's that orchestrating role.
One of the cases in Tech Trends 2022 is a very famous US bank called Capital One, which takes the position we're a tech company that happens to be in finance, right? So they're on top of this, and it's really impressive. You can find on the web really nice cases of what they've done. But they also take a position that developers should have the freedom to choose whatever tooling, whatever they like. Obviously, the premise behind OutSystems is when you have a platform that enables automated testing and scalability and so forth. Where are you on that spectrum? Do you feel that a strategy should be choosing a platform and sort of more or less live with that and scale it, or do you feel the more the merrier?
It's a tricky question. It's a great question. It's a tricky one. I am a firm believer that technology is only a tool that needs to serve a business purpose, and you need to fall in love with the business problem and then select the right tool around that business problem. So that's a generic comment. That's what I passionately believe in. Don't fall in love with tech, fall in love with the business problem. You therefore want to encourage the right technology solution, whether it's a platform-based or a particular cloud service, that can best solve that business problem. So what I don't believe is the right answer is a totally centralized model around all things standards, all things traditional control. You've got to unleash that opportunity. Having said that, if you unleash everything with no standards, no shape, no platform, no architecture, it's chaos and it's anarchy.
And you run the risks 6 times and it's not scalable.
Correct. Duplication, cyber controls may be weaker in different parts. So the right model is, yes, a framework, a platform, some sets of agreed architecture patterns that people align with. Absolutely standards around things like cyber and control, because you do not want that being messed around with. But equally at the same time, you want to create the opportunity for people to innovate around that core set of disciplines. And that's ultimately where I think it's getting the best of both worlds, leveraging scale whilst also having that business unit intimacy. It's getting those both worlds, and that is a new form of governance and control and investment and trust and ways of working and partners to enable that to happen. It's not easy. I know organizations have taken 3 or 4 years. You mentioned, Capital One and Tech Trends around getting that product-based operating model to work and the investment and controls around making it work. It's if you get it working, I think it's sensational.
Yeah. Actually, Deloitte did some research in trying to figure out what are these configurations and what are the optimum when you're faced with such dilemmas, right? So the research is about framing the cloud innovation space. It's based on real client cases. Without going too deep into it, but there's basically 4 different types of organizations, as we can see in the slide. Can you just walk us through quickly what that is?
Yeah. So I think when you look at a business, you can have a sort of an operational focus maturity. So that's, if you like, the x-axis. You know, are you focused on more traditional cost-cutting efficiencies, internal operations, if you like, less mature, through to organizations that are really operationally mature, both back office and the front office, out with a real customer focus. That's, if you like, the x-axis. And then you've got the y-axis, which is around the data maturity. To what extent are you using data in a more traditional way versus, no, we're unleashing the potential, we're all over leveraging the cloud to become much more insight driven, and you're further on that maturity axis. So yeah, we've got this sort of 2x2 quadrant. And I think it's a nice way of understanding the different cloud priorities and areas of focus around where you're sort of more defensive, or, you know, we've got the AI-fueled entrepreneurial model top right, which is all about real customer intimacy. That's the extreme model. And then leveraging all forms of data, IT, OT, to really delight and excite that customer.
Yeah. These are all interesting perspectives, Mark, but obviously they translate into real client cases. So let's look at the first one. It's a typical example of an insurance company that wants to influence the driving behavior of their clients by creating a relationship between the driving behavior and the price that their clients pay for their insurance. The example is from Iceland.
Presenting the OQ Vizier app by Vís. A new vehicle insurance solution with one focus: prevention. Led by Vís, an inspiring and agile multi-skilled team was able to deliver the app in 4 months. Working together with Vís, Deloitte Iceland and Portugal joined efforts to collaborate on this journey, straightened by the participation of other stakeholders such as telematics and gamification experts, governmental, regulatory, consumer protection, and road safety organizations, plus drivers' perspectives and a UI/UX design agency. The core technology in hand: OutSystems low-code platform. Seamless, scalable, secure. Those are the 3 S's that ensure easy ongoing fine-tune UX. Lean lifecycle management and one-click deployment. Faster custom code integration. And there it was, the perfect combination between telematics and gamification. An app where each driver's behavior score determines what they will pay for the insurance each month. Basically, at the end of each trip, the driver gets points based on 5 factors with 5-star ratings shown on an interactive route map. The goal? Helping drivers improve their next time driver rating and lower their next month's payment. This trustworthy and clear car insurance policy process made the app becoming Iceland's most downloaded app on launch. A real game changer in the European automotive insurance market, which undoubtedly influenced 40% of the Iceland drivers to improve their score after 3 months. And it all started in Iceland, with Vís truly rewarding the safe drivers.
So this must be an example close to your heart, because it started out with a real business issue, right? Can we influence driver behavior, connect it to the price, and thus improve, on the one hand, safety and so forth, in other words, and also lower the number of claims?
Totally, Hans. I mean, I love that story, because it is about a truly innovative business model that solves a problem.
Yeah.
That redefines car insurance based upon how far you drive and how good your driving is. I love the gamification angle to it, the fact that there's a health and safety angle to it,
Yeah.
The business outcome from it, but of course also how you can interact with all of the other different ecosystems. It could be regulations, control, and so on. And it's a wonderfully impactful story.
Yeah. If you would have created something like this, say, 10 years ago, assuming that we could have, right? That would have been quite a hassle, because all the different technologies, I mean, just, it's a customer relation management system, it's an insurance policy system, It's an in-car telematics systems that monitors you. It's gamification, right? Is that why you, as Deloitte, are interested in working with OutSystems? Is this integration capability?
Yeah, it's the speed. It's the opportunity for
4
speed.
months.
4 months. 4 months. A totally remote team.
Yeah.
4 months.
Yeah.
It's the ability to deliver something new that solves a problem fast. In simple terms, that is what platforms allow you to do. And with pre-built, pre-configured, the back end, the APIs, whatever it may be, but allowing you to do something fast is the magic there in that story. Brilliant.
It's an interesting example of a tangible business case. The next example that we want to share with you is actually an innovation created by Deloitte itself that has OutSystems inside. It's geared at medium-sized banks, and it helps them to open up digital channels given the legacy situation in which they have to operate.
Deloitte's Converged Prosperity Banking Suite combines our industry experience, technology integration expertise, and curated partnerships to empower you to move forward with confidence by deploying a next-generation suite of products and solutions designed with your customers in mind. It's made up of 4 technology layers that can be deployed as an all-in-one stack or integrated with your existing investments. Banking Suite starts with the digital experiences your customers crave, while laying the groundwork to further innovate and meet their growing needs. It's powered by a standards-driven API model that connects emerging technology to your existing banking systems, linking all the data needed for differentiated experiences for customers, while allowing you to maximize your investment. The product layer forms the backbone of the solution, with pre-configured next-generation capabilities from lending trusted vendors in the field. All built on a secure, cost-effective cloud container designed using our global breadth of market experience, unlocking the full value of cloud development while providing unparalleled risk and security.
So this is an interesting case because it unlocks capabilities for, let's call it, middle-sized banks across the world without having to invest as heavily as the big ones did. What brought Deloitte to create this?
Yeah. So Hans, there is a clear business problem in financial services, fintech, new entrants, changing situation, customers wanting to join some of these new fintech businesses. So what does a more traditional bank do in response? It needs to be really customer focused, mobile first, making it easy, delighting that customer. So how can they do that?
Whilst dealing with their legacy.
Indeed. So how can they do that? So what we Deloitte have done is created a platform that
Which OutSystems is sort of embedded.
Absolutely, it's a fundamental part to make it work, that allows those businesses to have an engaging customer experience with their customers. It allows you to wrap legacy and hide it away and containerize it to make it work. It allows you to integrate to industry standard APIs, compliance requirements, regulators, whatever it may be.
By design?
By design, allowing you to scale, and then crucially, because a lot of that is then standardized, pre-built, pre-configured, it allows you as the bank to innovate where your customers expect you to innovate around new products, a broader financial services offering. It could be around tax, around budgeting and planning, those other peripheral services that go beyond what's my bank's balance, what's my statement. So it allows you to innovate around that pre-configured core. That's the value.
Yeah. Now there's also a perspective to be taken from Deloitte itself. I mean, as you mentioned, you have thousands of consultants. You have a battle for talent going on every day. I could imagine that one of the reasons to come up with this proposition in the market has to do with this Deloitte challenge.
Yeah, it is a challenge. War for talent, we've talked about it. It is a challenge. We want to continually grow, and we want to grow beyond just hurrying more bums in on seats. We need to get a more replicable, scalable model. So that's why we invest in assets.
Yeah.
I call it asset-backed consulting. What it does is it fuels our ability to deliver transformational projects to our clients at lower cost to them, because you've got pre-configured, pre-built solutions, at lower cost because it's pre-built and pre-configured with existing security standards embedded within the platform.
APIs to legacy and so forth.
Exactly. So it's a win for the customers, it's a win for Deloitte, and then crucially, it means we can scale our business without just hiring more and more people that are increasingly hard to find because there is a war for talent out there.
But I could imagine it's a bit of a difficult dilemma, right? Because you're not going to put your first year starter on a project like this. I mean, because the visibility is huge. So you actually need to take out really experienced subject matter expert consultants out of your consulting business in order to build solutions like this.
Yeah, so where we work well with our ecosystem is we have...
Like without systems.
Like without systems. We have our functional skill sets, we have our industry knowledge, and if we can then package that expertise around some existing platforms that are designed for particular industry solutions, we get the absolute win. We find that building our own proprietary assets is not half as compelling as working with partners in our ecosystem to work around those platforms. We can scale around those platforms because there's a proven software delivery model that scales and is maintained and all the rest of it. So I really do believe our future is working with our partners, OutSystem and other partners, to make sure that we leverage their skill sets around what they do the best, our industry functional skills, what we do the best, and then together we are super relevant and useful for our end clients.
So if there's people out there watching this that have ambitions in this space that also want to create their own propositions, would you support integrating OutSystems as a platform in doing this? What's Deloitte's experience so far?
Yeah, no, we're delighted with our partnership with OutSystems. I mean, I think we've been Partner of the Year for the last 4 or so years. So, yeah. I mean, that says a lot in itself. So we're absolutely delighted. And I think any organization that has an industry relevant skill set and momentum, and the whole low-code arena is dramatically exciting because of that, enabling the masses to have technology solutions. It's the future, frankly. So anything that enables us to increase our differentiation with end customers we will just invest in hard behind because it's the future of the industry.
Yeah. A last example that we prepared is actually an example in which a number of available cloud services are integrated, particularly in the area of workflow and process automation and so forth, which is a big topic for Deloitte, and also a set of capabilities that is wrapped as a product. Can you say a few words about that?
Yeah, what we call DARA. So DARA is our sort of intelligent automation assistant that does a whole series of tasks and automates them.
Workforce planning, process automation.
Exactly. Payment, invoice payments, checking compliance around requirements, training tools, all sorts of different activities.
It's a cloud goes vertical by excellence, right?
Yeah, I know, absolutely right. And why would we want to employ people doing administrative tasks that are not necessarily value adding for those individuals, where we can get far higher productivity and more engagement with our people? The other lovely thing about it is it's scalable. So there's a particular requirement, a particular report that I need on a weekly basis, rather than in the old world emailing someone and saying, can you please do ding ding? You set up the automation tool and there it is, automated forever, collecting the data.
And OutSystems takes care of the orchestration and the integration, as well as the customer facing or the employee facing interface. I could imagine that these types of solutions have boomed during COVID. Is that your experience? Because they allow working from home in a sizable manner, and not just by email, but the whole office suite.
Yeah, I think one of our trends earlier was IT disrupt thyself. I mean, I'm a firm believer that it's not the most elegant of phrases, but you should eat your own dog food. I prefer actually you should drink your own champagne. Mm-hmm. Meaning, if we believe that automation and intelligent automation is the right thing to do, then goodness me, we should do it ourselves within Deloitte. And I think it's a super example of us eating our own dog food and making sure that we do that, because if we don't do it ourselves, then how can we advise our clients to do it as well? So I think it's another lovely example of that, actually.
Well, before I let you go, Mark, just a final question. I could imagine that some people that are watching this and that have leadership, executive roles in tech think, this is a nice platform of colleagues that is sort of fueled by content. And if there's anybody out there that considers to participate in your CIO program, what would he or she have to do?
Get in contact. We are a large global organisation, so wherever anybody is, irrespective of geography, we have a CIO program in every geography, from Portugal to Finland, to India, to Australia, to Canada. We passionately believe in the support and growth of technology leaders. I'm biased, there is no more important role in an organisation than technology leaders, CIOs, CTOs, CDOs, whatever.
Because you have seen that change, right? I mean, you've been doing this now for 10 years. Did you see that change towards the board, reporting to the board, or actually, some years ago when I still was a colleague of yours, we identified a new type of CIO, the vanguard, which is in the board. Is this something that you see also here in Europe and in the UK happening?
Yeah, I've seen historically the IT director had a brand around the trusted operator. If things break, it gets fixed. You've got to move from the trusted operator to the, if you will, the change instigator. So I'm not just running things reliably, safely, securely, but I am actually working with business colleagues to transform. There's a new level though. So above that trusted operator, change instigator, it's business co-creator. I truly believe that technology is redefining business today. It's back to our strategy re-engineered trend. So the best leaders in organizations from a tech perspective are the ones who have that mindset now around business co-creator. How can I work with, could be the board, certainly the executive and the CEO and other colleagues, the chief marketing officer, the chief supply chain officer, the chief operating officer, to embed technology and all things digital with those leadership positions to redefine the business model. That's where tech is going, and I think that is the opportunity. So anyone who's interested in that agenda, then get in contact, and would love to hear from you.
It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much, Mark. This wraps up this keynote, opening keynote. I hope you enjoyed it. We will now give you the opportunity to join different breakout sessions. And for now, thank you for participating and have a nice day. Bye-bye.